On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. This is going to be the Helping Our People Elevate study group / YouTube presentation of the Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm Part 5. And it's presented by Konos and Kofa Bay every second and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So on the screen, as you see, these three gentlemen right here, we have Francis Bonaire, Carlos Linneaus, and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach. And so I have their faces on here so you will know the names and the faces of the people who are the fathers of the modern race paradigm. But we go into Francis Bonaire and his Nouvelle Division de la Terre, or New Division of the Earth, in 1684. Carlos Linneaus and his Systema Naturae of 1717 to 1737. His 10th edition, where he classified Albions under the white classification. And then we have Johann Friedrich Blumenbach and his Degenerate Human Varieties, or On the Natural Varieties of Mankind, in 1770s, where he constructed the modern definition of Caucasian as applied to the Albions. The words race and color have been constructive to be used interchangeably. So they use the words race and color synonymously. The word color has been used or has been constructive out of its original meaning and application. And so, as I said in the last two presentations, the etymology and the legal definition of color, if you can you mute your mic, please? But the etymology and the legal definition of color, it deals with concealing, deceptive, an appearance distinguished from that which is real, it's counterfeit, and the pretense is circumlocution. And I went over those definitions in the last presentation. And so if you did or if you didn't get to see the last presentation, it's on my YouTube platform. Whoever defines the meaning controls the issue. Charlie Rose, on the Charlie Rose Talk Show of 2007. The basic tool for manipulation of reality is the manipulation of the words. If you control the meaning of the words, you control the people who use it, who must use them. And this is by Philip K. Dick. The words race, color, black and Negro are major words of the European conquest tools of social engineering that have suppressed, oppressed, and subjugated our minds for generations. And so this type of thinking has been passed down from generations, hundreds of generations. Negro, black, colored, etc. This has been going on for a long time. But from Moor to blackMoor to blackMoor to black, Negro was used interchangeably with blackMoor for 300 years. Ethiopia was used interchangeably with blackamoor for 300 years. And I'll show y'all proof of this and further along in the presentation. Social engineering, and I had a conversation with a brother about this last night, and he said it's it doesn't matter what color you are. And so this is part of social engineering. It doesn't matter what color you are. Well, when did we start identifying skin pigmentation or skin complexion with color? And so it doesn't matter what color you are, black, white, red, yellow, brown. So what we want to do, we want to talk about restoring the proper concepts to our people for inheritance, estate, birthrights, law of succession, heraldry, law of descent, consanguinity, genealogy, national origin, pedigree, parentage, lineage claims. This deals with ciliology, the study of seals, vexillology, the study of flags, heraldry, genealogy, the coat of arms, crest, and shield. And that was something that was mentioned also last night in the presentation Brother Quasi did. Race and color, making a fiction real in the minds of the people, burying the Moorish nationality and stripping the Moors of their heritage land right claims, national Moorish sovereignty, and Moorish treaty protection. And so with this false identity, these are the things that we've been stripped from. Our land right claims, our national Moorish sovereignty, and our treaty protections. And again, if you didn't get to catch the presentation Brother Quasi did last night, I'll be presenting that on my YouTube platform. If you have me on Facebook, it's on my Facebook. But it was a great presentation, and so I wanted to give him a shout out. That's why I put his presentation on here. And so we're going to go into today's topic. What happened to the Moors in the Americas before 1492? From Moor to blackMoor to Indian to black. We're going to talk about the Dawes role of the Land Reinlotment Act, and the Europeans classified as $5 Indians, the land rush, social engineering, like I said, has been taking place for over hundreds of years. And why was the Moorish identity hidden? And I'm going to finish it with the 7 sacred teachings. And so this is the Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm, Part 5. Presented by the Helping Our People Elevate Study Group by Kono Sankofa Bay. Again, get your tickets for the flyer because it's coming up. We got less than a month to make it to this conference. This is the Moorish American Governance Birthright Nationality Claim Conference. And as you see on the flyer, all the keynote guest speakers. So just make sure y'all get y'all tickets. The tickets are $125. It's going to be a whole day event. It's going to be a beautiful event. I'm going to be there. I look forward to meeting all the beautiful people that's going to be there. And so get y'all tickets now for the event before the time is too late. And so let's talk about suggestions for nationality discussions, as all our issues center around the Moorish nationality. So the first one is this consanguineous application of nationality. A, nationality and blood right claims, inheritance and birthright of the entire people. B, nationality and culture. C, nationality, genealogy, and the coat of arms. D, nationality and surnames / last names, family names / clan names. E, nationality and national coat of arms. F, nationality and self-determination. G, nationality and post-millennium claim. H, nationality and recovery of lost sovereignty and revision of sovereignty. I, nationality and economics. So then we go into part 2 of our suggestions for nationality discussions. A, Moorish nationality and bringing the Moors back under the protection of the Moroccan Empire, Moorish sovereignty, and the Moorish flag. B, nationality protected under the Moorish international law. C, Moorish nationality and protection under Moorish treaties. D, nationality and diplomatic protection. E, nationality and consular protection. And Quasi spoke on consular last night in his presentation with the treaties that took place. So we understood that the so-called slave trade was, we re-examined the slave trade, and we found out that they weren't teaching the truth in that slave trade. But F, nationality and economics. And so I also want to go into 3, the Shem Malachi Bay proposal and plan to facilitate the recovery of Moorish lost Moorish sovereignty. 4, Moorish powers from 700s to the 1700s. We want to, as Quasi did, we want to re-examine the translated slave trade claim. 5, the unexpected faces in ancient America, archaeological evidence. And you will see me present that further on in my presentation. And so I wanted to show you these images here, and I'll read the underlining to show you that we were already here. Again, going re-examining the slave trade story. So we didn't come on those ships, we were already here. And so if you see in the paintings or these images from left to right, this is an image from 1839. And you see the dark-skinned pigmentation of the people. These were chiefs of the Blood Indians, chiefs of the Payacans and the Acutana Indians, what it says. But in the middle, you see right here where it says an emblem of America. And so in 1801, this is a painting of an emblem of America. And this is a melanated Moorish woman. This painting on the right is a Cherokee chief from 1834. And so this isn't something a Kono just made or a Kono put together. I researched it, but these are actual paintings and images from the 1800s that were put together to show you what the ancient people looked like during that time frame. And we're going to go further back as I get in this presentation to show you further more proof. And so from left to right is an image of a sister from the 1730s of the Yuchi Indian nation. And this was a painting by a German painter, Philip George Friedrich von Reck. And so he painted this image. But again, just showing y'all more images of what the indigenous people had looked like during this 18, 17, 1600s. We're going to keep going back further. An image from the 1500s, an Italian explorer, Giovanni Verrazzano from 1524. And so this shows you in the 1500s what the people look like, what they saw. As you see down here on the bottom by the boats, you see the two dark copper-complected people. The image in the middle, it says America right here. And you see the people. And so then in the top right over here in this corner, we look at this definition of American. It says a Native American originally applied to the Aboriginal or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the European descents born in America. And so showing you that the copper-complected people or the Moors are the indigenous people here. Again, there's more images of the indigenous people. If you look at this brother right here on the right, he has a fez on his head. That's a Moorish fez to me. It's got some native feathers on it, but that's a Moorish fez. And so before I read this presentation, I want to go into this image down here on the right. This is a Cherokee war chief from 1790 to 1843, and he has a turban on his head to show you that the Moors had already been here. 15, 16, 17, 1800s, we had been here. Before, I'm going to go even further back in the presentation. But the Moors were in the South. And so the Moors were in the South is an untold history that was hidden by the controllers, since the truth does not fit in the false historical narrative of so-called Black people, Moors, coming from Africa as slaves. This information has been hidden from the public, so this presentation will show that so-called Black people were in power on both sides of the Civil War. This presentation will reveal a lot more, so I hope you will enjoy it. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People provides a framework for reconciliation, healing, and peace, as well as harmonious and cooperative relations based on the principles of justice, democracy, respect for human rights, non-discrimination, and good faith. For over 10 years, indigenous people and tribal people from around the world have been gathering to clearly define our humanity, heritage, and define rights in the form of distinct declaration of the rights of indigenous people. The next year, the UN declared the International Decade for the World's Indigenous People from 1995 to 2004. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People is a comprehensive document that outlines the rights and protections for the indigenous people around the world. Some important aspects include the right to self-determination. Indigenous people have the right to freely determine their political status and pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Now I want you to understand what this is saying as I read these to y'all and understand the words in this. Land and resource rights. Indigenous people had a right to own, use, develop, and control the lands, territory, and resources they possess traditionally or have otherwise acquired. Cultural rights. Indigenous people have the right to maintain, control, protect, and develop their cultural heritage, traditional knowledge, and traditional cultural expressions. Free, prior, and enforced consent. States must obtain the free, prior, and enforced consent of indigenous people before adopting and implementing legislative or administrative measures that may affect them. And so they have to abide by this, but as Abdullah said, we can't do this individually. We have to do this collectively, as we have to have a government. So when we submit these claims, we have a government behind us that backs this claim up. We can't do this individually. I tried this a couple years ago when I was working at Walmart. I went to one of the sites we all go through when we get our nationality cards. I went to the site, tried to go to the job, print out the documentation, thinking it was going to work for me, and it didn't work for me. So now I understand it doesn't work individually. We have to do this as a whole, as a collective. But the right to participation and consultation. Indigenous people have the right to participate fully if they choose in decision-making processes that affect their rights, territories, and resources. And one thing I noticed when I was doing a couple community events last year, the year before, that local politicians have conversations, they have private conversations about our communities without us being there. And so this right here tells you that you have a right to any type of decision-making process that affect your rights, your territory, and resources. So you have the right to be there. But they're doing stuff behind your back because you don't know this. We don't know this. Right to education. Indigenous people have a right to access education in their own language and cultures, and states that should take effect measures to ensure the retention and revitalization of indigenous languages and culture. Right to health and well-being. Indigenous people have the right to enjoy the highest attainable standards of physical and mental health, and states should provide culturally appropriate health services. And so all that, you got to have insurance. You don't got, that doesn't matter. That doesn't apply to indigenous people. That doesn't apply to us. We're supposed to get the best treatment for free. Okay, yeah, these are just a few key provisions of the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, which seek to address historical injustices and promote their rights, dignity, and well-being of the indigenous people worldwide. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People is highly significant for several reasons. The recognition of indigenous people rights. It acknowledges the inherent rights of indigenous people, including the rights of self-determination, land, culture, and language. This recognition is crucial for combating historical injustices and ensuring the protection of indigenous communities. And so it's crucial for combating historical injustices. And so this is our claim for the historical injustices that have been done to us. Or one of the claims, I'm not gonna say this is the claim, this is one of them. An international legal framework. It provides an international legal framework for the protection and promotion of indigenous rights. It establishes norms and standards that governments and organizations can reference and use to guide policies and practices. Advocacy and awareness. It serves as a tool for advocacy and raising awareness about the rights and issues facing indigenous people. It empowers indigenous communities to assert their rights and demand accountability from government and institutions. It empowers indigenous communities to assert their rights and demand accountability from governments and institutions. Framework for dialogue. It encourages dialogue and collaboration between indigenous people, states, and other stakeholders. Excuse me. It promotes respectful engagement and the inclusion of indigenous perspectives in decision-making processes that affect their lives and territories. And so when they have those meetings, we're supposed to be there. We're supposed to be a part of those meetings. that they have about us and we don't know nothing about when they're making these different laws and policies. And okay, progress monitoring. It provides a framework for monitoring the accessing the progress of government and organizations in upholding indigenous rights. It allows for the identification of gaps and challenges, as well as the development of strategies and for improvement. Overall, it represents a significant step towards the recognition, protection, and promotion of the rights and dignity of indigenous people globally. However, its full implementation requires continued commitment and action from all stakeholders. And so we all must be a part of this. We can't do this individually. It requires continued commitment and action from all stakeholders. So we all have to be a part of that. I want to talk about the Great Law of Peace, also known as the Gayanshanagawa. Gayanashagawa is a foundational document. My apologies, y'all. Is a foundational document of the Iroquois Confederacy, which consists of the Mohawk, Oinde, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca nations, with the addition of the Tuscarora in the 18th century. The Great Law of Peace is a set of principles and laws that govern the relations between the members' nations and guide their collective decision-making processes. According to oral traditions, the Great Law of Peace was implemented around the late 15th and early 16th century, following a period of conflict among the Haudenosaunee nation. I may be saying these names wrong, but it is attributed to the leadership of the peacemaker, a legendary figure who is said to have unified the nations and established a confederacy based on principles of peace, democracy, and justice. The Great Law of Peace emphasizes concepts such as consensus-based decision-making, the separation of powers, and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. It has served as a model for governance and diplomacy among the Haudenosaunee nation for centuries and continues to be respected and upheld by many indigenous people today. The Constitution, United States Constitution, is derived from the Great Law of Peace, which is royal Muslim law of the ancient Moors who were given the misnomer as Indians after 1621. The word Indian was substituted for Moors with a single alteration. The original text was again transcribed in 1703. And my source is the Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology of 1888, Harvard University. So that's the source. You can go look the source up. Now this map, as I said last night in Quasi's presentation, I remember Sister Picola was talking about a map before the Barbary map before 1492. I said I had that map in my presentation. And so this map is an image of the 1491 map of the distribution of the barbarous tribes of the eastern Mississippi. Mute your mic if you don't mind. But this map is from the University of South Florida. And so I want you to notice on this map, that all the names on these maps are Moors. You had the Seminole, Choctaw, Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Muscovy, Yamassees, Catawbas, the Iroquois, Shawnee, Potawatoms, Delaware, Algonquin, Mohawk, Miami, Abenaki, Pequot, Seneca, the Wampanoag, and many more. But you see, this is a Barbary map. It says the barbarous tribes of the East Mississippi. And this is a 1491 map, and it has Native American or so-called Indian names on it, Indian tribe names on it. But you can see in this map, some of these tribes were major Indian tribes who say that so who can say that the Moors were not indigenous when the Moors were also Indians from India's period? And I'm gonna go into that as well. I'm gonna show y'all that. You're gonna see the dark-skinned images. But further evidence that the American Indians are Moors is from the book, The Americas by Dr. Joseph Moore. The descendants of North America, the descendants of the North American Moors are the present-day Iroquois, Algonquin, Anasazi, Hakuham, Olmec, Apache, Arawak, Araucana, Chavez, Cherokee, Cree, Hupa, Hopi, Maka, Mohawk, Naka, Zulus, and Zuni people. And so these are more images of the natives or indigenous people that were here before Columbus. The Seminole Nation and Creek Nation were blood allies that also fought for the South during the Civil War, since they were also Moors. And so as you see here, these are the seals. From left to right, you have the Seminole Nation seal, and as you see inside the boat, there's a dark-skinned image inside their boat. There's a dark-skinned brother, there's a Moor inside their boat. And on the right, you see the Chickasaw seal, and you see the Moor. The 1861 pro-Confederate flag of the Creek and Seminole Nation are almost identical to the Islamic flags that feature the crescent moon and star on them. And so this flag on the left is the Creek and Seminole Nation flag of 1861. And as you see the crescent star and moon, and these are examples of the Islamic flags, and you see those same colors and designs in the flag. Abolitionist John Brown was also a so-called black man that fought to end the so-called white slavery in the South. This presentation images also revealed that these following people were so-called black Republicans or Moors. William Pitt Kellogg was a Republican senator, a governor of Louisiana. James L. Alcorn, 20th governor of Mississippi and U.S. representative Republican senator. Alfred Buck, U.S. Republican senator of Alabama. Charles Hamilton, Republican senator of Florida. And so this is an image of John Brown, aka Fed in Benford of 1818 to 1876. But just to give you a quick glimpse of him and how he got his name. John Fed Brown, Slave Life in Georgia, a narrative of the life, suffering, and escape of John Brown in London of 1855. John Brown, also known as Fed in Benford of Southampton County, Virginia, is best remembered as an escaped enslaved person who wrote an account of his bondage that was published in England in 1854. Brown was born about 1818 on the Betty Moore farm, 3 miles from Jerusalem, Cortland, on the Naturae River. Due to the will of his owner, the Moor slaves were split between their daughter once they married. Brown, his mother, and one brother were taken by the new owner, James Davis, to New Hampton County, Virginia in 1828. In 1845, Stephen's son temporarily removed the bells and horn, and Brown made his escape. He allowed himself to be recaptured 1 year later and was sold to a planter in Louisiana, where he became known as Benford, escaping once more.
Manhattan Avenue and West 116th Street.
He made his way to Indiana, where he assumed his free name, John Brown, with the help of Quaker conductor on the Underground Railroad. Brown moved to Canada in 1847, where he was a copper miner, and in 1849, Brown moved to Josiah Henson Don's Institution in Kent County, Ontario, where he was a carpenter, but in 1850, he moved to England. He worked there as a carpenter and then as an herbalist until his death in 1876.
This stop is Manhattan
and at the age of
Avenue and
56
West
when he
116th
passed.
Street.
Hey, can you mute the mic? Samuel F. Gove, Republican senator of Georgia. Benjamin Franklin Whitemore, Republican senator of South Carolina. Christopher Bowen, Republican senator of South Carolina. Henry R. Pease, Republican senator of Mississippi. Oscar James Dunn, lieutenant governor of Louisiana, and there was more, but these were all Moors, brothers that were Republicans before that they don't talk about. And so, as I've said in another presentation, we're going to go into the blackMoor or blackMoor. And so I want to pull up the King James Version compared to the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible was published in 1560, or written in 1560, and the King James was published in 1611. In So the Geneva Bible precedes the King James translation by 51 years. It was the primary Bible of the 16th century Protestantism and was the Bible used by William Shakespeare, Oliver Cromwell, John Knox, John Donne, John Bunyan, author of Pilgrim's Progress. It was the first Bible ever that included chapters and verse numbers. Also, subsequent Bibles followed suit. And so here, if somebody doesn't mind reading, but I want y'all to see on the left, these are scriptures from the Geneva Bible, and on the right, you have scriptures from the King James Bible. And so I want you to see, can somebody read any scripture, and I want you to tell me what you see the difference in the scriptures.
Next stop, Manhattan Avenue, West 108th Street.
Jeremiah 38:10. Then the king commanded Ebed,
Next stop is Manhattan
Ebed,
Avenue, West 108th Street.
Malik,
the blackMoor,
Next
saying,
stop
take
is Manhattan
from
Avenue, West 106th Street.
hence 30
This
men
stop is
with
Manhattan Avenue,
thee,
West
and take
106th Street. Please exit through the
Jeremiah
door.
the prophet out of the dungeon before he died. Geneva.
Okay, now read the one to the right of it.
Jeremiah 3:10. Then the king commanded Ethelblick, excuse me.
It's the same thing, Ebed Melech.
Melech. Sorry about that.
You good,
The
bro.
Ethiopian saying, take from hence 30 men with thee, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he died. King James Version.
Okay, so what was different? What did they take out and then replace?
The word more and the Geneva, and then replaced it in the King James with Ethiopian.
Okay, you see it. So you see, and if you see any of these scriptures here, whether Jeremiah 13:23, can the blackMoor change his skin? And then you go to the King James, can the Ethiopian change his skin?
Right. Wow.
Jeremiah 38:12. And Ebed Melech the blackamoor said unto Jeremiah, and then you go to the King James, and Ebed Melech the Ethiopian said unto Jeremiah. And so as you see in the Geneva 1560, blackamoor or blackMoor is mentioned. And then they took more out in the King James and put Ethiopian. And it wasn't just in the Jeremiah. There's many other scriptures, but I just put these, and I put Ezekiel in here as well to show you that there's not just Jeremiah. But Ezekiel 29:10, behold, therefore I come upon thee and upon thy rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate from the tower of the Sphinx, even unto the borders of the blackMoors. Then you go to the King James, and it says, behold, therefore I am against thee and against thy rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate from the towers of Sin even unto them borders of Ethiopia. And so you see where they took blackMoor out and replaced with Ethiopia. But as we were talking last night's presentation, so the overthrow did not just happen in North Carolina. The Wilmington 1989. How many of y'all familiar with Wilmington in 1989? Or the Red Summer in Chicago? Okay, so the Wilmington of 1989 is when white supremacists overthrew the U.S. government following a state election in 1898. I apologize, I'm saying the wrong year. Wilmington 1898 is when white supremacists overthrew a U.S. government following state elections in 1898. White supremacists moved into the U.S. port of Wilmington, North Carolina, then the largest city in the state. They destroyed black-owned businesses, murdered black residents, and forced the elected local government, a coalition of white and black politicians, to resign en masse. And so the Wilmington of 1898, They overthrew the government and forced them to resign in large numbers. This happened to Moors everywhere in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Because even after all the first major land grabs of our lands, we still had the majority of the American land. This event happened in 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina. You see how the poor whites were the Democrats at first, and the blacks were the prominent, rich, liberal Republicans at first. And so you see, I mentioned all the Republicans that were in office in the beginning. And so we were in power. The Kickapoo Land Rush refers to an event that occurred in 1884 in what is now known as the state of Kansas. The Kickapoo tribe had been relocated to Kansas from the Great Lakes region under the provision of various treaties with the United States government. And so the image on the left is a Kickapoo man. His name is Baby Long. He was a medicine man. And you see, he's wrapped in a blanket, but this is Baby Long, a Kickapoo medicine man. And you see the dark, this is a melanated brother. In 1884, go ahead. In 1884, the federal government decided to open parts of the Kickapoo Reservation to non-native settlers. This decision triggered a land rush similar to other settlement events in the American West. What mic is that?
Look like iPhone.
In 1884, the federal government decided to open part of the Kickapoo Reservation for non-native settlers. The decision triggered a land rush similar to other settlement events in the American West, where settlers rushed to stake their claims on the newly available land. The Kickapoo land rush was significant because it resulted in the loss of a portion of the Kickapoo tribe's land base, which had been set aside for their use under the treaty agreements. This event is a part of the broader history of the Native American and indigenous Moors land disposition in the United States during the 19th century. The land rush in 1895 primarily occurred in what is now known as Oklahoma, specifically in the Cherokee Outlet. This land rush was a result of U.S. government policies of opening up the Native American and indigenous Moors land to non-Native American settlers for agriculture and economic development. The Cherokee Outlet, located in northern Oklahoma, was part of the Cherokee Nation territory until it was opened up to settlement through the Cherokee Outlet opening of September 16, 1893. The rush in 1895 was a continuation of the settlement of this area, as more land was made available for homesteading and development. So I want to talk about the Dawes roll of 1887, and then we're going to go into the land rushes of 1889 and 1901 and after. As you see on the screen, right here in the middle, Indian land for sale. Get a home or your own, easy payments. Perfect title, possession within 30 days. And so it's showing you the locations, the amount of acres, and how much it costs to purchase during this time frame when they were giving away our land. And we're going to go into, like I said, a Dawes roll, $5 Indians, and those pretending to be. President Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act of May 20th, 1862. On January 1st, 1863, Daniel Freedman made the first claim under the act, which gave citizens or future citizens up to 160 acres or public land provided they live on it, improve it, and pay a small registration fee. Between 1862 and 1934, the federal government granted 1.6 million homesteads and distributed, 270 million acres of federal land for private ownership. This was a total of 10% of all land of the United States. homesteading was discontinued in 1976, except in Alaska, where it continued until 1986. About 40% of the applications who started the process were able to complete it and obtain titles of their homestead land after paying a small fee in cash. And so you could take the land, live there for a few years. As long as you made the payments on it, it was yours. The Dawes rolls are official records of the individuals who were living with the 5 civilized tribes: Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Creek and Seminole. In the late 19th century, they were used to determine tribal citizenship. They were created as part of the Dawes Act of 1887. The Dawes rolls were created as a part of the Dawes Act of 1887, also known as the General Alloyment Act. The purpose of the Dawes roll was to facilitate the alloyment of tribal lands to individuals, Native Americans, households, and to determine their tribal citizenship. This was a part of the U.S. government assimilation policy aimed at breaking up tribal landholding and encouraging Native Americans to adopt Western farming practices and lifestyle. So the moderns, this is their way of making them adopt or adjust to adopting our way of living, our culture, our lifestyles. The Oklahoma land rush was also known as the land run of 1889, and it occurred in 1889. It was the first of several land rushes that have opened as unassigned lands in Oklahoma Territory for non-Native American settlers. And this image here is an image that I did a video on my YouTube when I first started doing my YouTube last year, but it's titled Boomer Sooners. I'm from Oklahoma, and so it's called the Sooner State, and we have the OU college football team. And so I questioned, where did that term come from? Where did Boomer Sooner come from? And so before I even done this presentation last year, I was digging into this information, and I found out about the Boomers and Sooners in the Oklahoma land rush. And the Boomers were those who applied for the land, and Sooners were those who jumped the gun and were sitting on land before it was time to claim the land. And so it became the Sooner State. There were several other land rushes in the Oklahoma Territory. You had the land run of 1893. You had the land run of 1884. The land run of 1896, the land run of 1901, the Big Pasture, and then you had the land run of 1901, the Wichita Caddo. But each land run opened up different areas of the Oklahoma Territory for settlement. Now, what was the purpose of those land runs? Well, the purpose of the land rushes was to open up previous unassigned or tribal lands for settlement by non-Native American settlers. These land rushes were a part of U.S. government efforts to encourage Western expansion, settlements, and development of the frontier. They aimed to populate the newly acquired territories, promote agricultural development, and stimulate economic growth in the region. Iron Eyes Cody. Iron Eyes Cody was used in a lot of the old cowboy Indian films. He was recognized as one of the so-called Native Americans. So a lot of people think Iron Eyes Cody was an Indian. He was who our grandparents were taught with Indians on the TV screen. And so this is one of the false images of the Indians that they gave us. And so Iron Eyes Cody was often represented as a Native American in his acting roles and public persona. He was known for portraying Native American character in films and television, and he became a cultural icon associated with Native American imagery. However, it was later revealed that Iron Eyes Cody was actually of Italian descent, not Native American. Despite this, he continued to embrace and promote Native American culture, Native American causes throughout his life. And so this man was an Italian pretending to be indigenous, pretending to be us, pretending to be you, pretending to be me, pretending to be our ancestors. As you see the medallion on his neck, he's pretending to be a native or indigenous. And here's some more actors and actresses who pretended to be natives throughout films, throughout history. And so some other actors who portrayed Native American characters but were not of Native American descent included Jay Silverheels, best known for his role as Tonto in the Lone Ranger television series. Anthony Quinn, he portrayed a Native American character in several films, including The Plainsman and The Buffalo Bill. Burt Lancaster played a Native American warrior in the film Apache. Elvis Presley portrayed a Native American in the film Flaming Star. Yul Brynner portrayed a Native American character in a film such as The Light at the Edge of the World and The King and I. And so these actors often took on these roles during the time of Hollywood, frequently cast non-Native American actors to portray Native American characters. And so again, these are actors pretending to be you. And so this is why television, people all over the world think that this is what the natives look like, is because of the Hollywood, because of television, because of what TV told them, because of what the media put out there. Those who control the language control those who use it. Those who control the words control those who use it. It may have been fashionable to play an Indian now, but it was also trendy 125 years ago when people paid $5 to be falsely documented, declaring them native on the Dawes roll. These so-called $5 Indians paid government agents under the table in order to reap the benefits that came with having Indian blood. And so what comes with having rights on your land? What comes with being indigenous? The resources, the crops, the economics. I mean, just many things. So this is why they're getting those things, because they're claiming your identity. I wanted to go to Webster's 1828 Unabridged Dictionary, and I wanted to pull up the definitions for the word Indian. So I put up the adjective and I put up the noun, and behind you are images. On the left are women from India. On the right are women from, or what they say, African American women. So you see that they're dark complected. These are same looking people. But the adjective from India, and this from Indus, the name of a river in Asia, pertaining to either the Indies, east or west. And then the noun, a general name of any native of the Indies, as an East Indian or West Indian. It is particularly applied to any native of the American continent. And so again, East Indian, West Indian. And so these people claiming to be Indian today, they don't look like these people on the screen. They don't look like the people according to Webster's dictionary. According to the people, they don't look like these people. So I want to talk about the social engineering and the unexpected faces in ancient America, the historical testament of pre-Columbian artists. And this is by Alexander von Uthnau. I may be pronouncing his last name wrong, but this is the book. And I want to, like I said, I want to go into social engineering. And so social engineering is the art of manipulating people into giving up confidential information or performing actions that compromise security. It often involves exploiting human psychological rather than technical vulnerabilities. Social engineering is the art of manipulating people into giving up. I don't know why I put that on there twice. Impersonation. So social engineering is a part of impersonation. So they're impersonating us. And so it's fraudsters may impersonate authority figures or trusted community leaders to gain trust and manipulate individuals into sharing sensitive information or participating in fraudulent schemes. And so they had our ancestors in trust within them. They built up that trust throughout the years and before they attacked. And we taught them how to grow on the crop. We taught them how to, the land, the resources, the language. We taught them our ways, our culture. So it goes to the third one, identity theft. Black Americans may be targeted for identity theft due to historical disparities in access to financial services and credit, making them vulnerable to exploitation and personal information. Political disinformation. Social engineering tactics may also be used to spread disinformation and manipulate political beliefs within the Black community, exploiting historical and contemporary social tensions for malicious purposes. But these images I'm about to show y'all are from this book, Unexpected Faces in the Ancient America. And The reason why I did this because I want you to see on the top, these are all the ancient stone heads in this book, and I'm gonna show y'all more to back up my claim. But on the bottom, they don't look nothing like these images on the top. You can take any of these images on the bottom, and none of them look like any of these images on the top. And so these people, who are these people on the bottom pretending to be these people on the top? Remember, pretending to be these people on the top. This is more proof from the book. Ancient faces, unexpected faces in ancient America. And so as you see, the wide noses, look at the hair texture. I don't see any people of today outside of melanated Moors with their hair like this, with their hair texture like this, with this wide nose, thick lips. I don't see anybody else with these facial features. Here's more images. This is an afro on an Olmec head. But I don't see anybody else with these features. And so I was working at the casino last year, and I remember when I was getting to the information, I remember someone called me a wabo, and I didn't know what a wabo was, W-A-B-O. And a wabo is a so-called black person pretending to be Indian or claiming to be Indian. And so I had to look into my research, and then I found this term here, pretendian. And you can pull your phones out, you can Google this word right now, pretendian. A pretendian is a person who falsely claims Native American heritage and lineage. It's an Indian hoaxer. And so I just showed y'all that Indians are from Asia, but they pertain to the West and East Indies. So these people don't look like these people. They don't look like these people. And so who's pretending to be, who's falsely claiming someone else's heritage and lineage, someone else's pedigree, someone else's consanguinity, someone else's pedigree? We are not. They are claiming your identity. Oh, also I put this image down because also the social engineering in the school systems, every Thanksgiving, the children are taught, the Pilgrims and the Indians and the blacks so-called blacks come from slave ships. And so the social engineering starts in elementary schools. How pretendians undermine the rights of indigenous people. The day before Senator Warren of Massachusetts released the results of her DNA test last fall, the Los Angeles Times revealed another prominent politician was embroiled in a controversy over false claims of Cherokee heritage. William Wages, the brother-in-law of House Minority Leader Representative Kevin McCarthy, representative of California, his brother-in-law received $7.6 million in no-bid federal contracts by claiming to be Cherokee. But they found out he was false. And so now that they're having a trial behind that, but they're not talking about this on the news, but these people claim to be you and are given millions of dollars. They're given land, they're given resources, they're given access to everything that's supposed to go to you, supposed to go to me, supposed to go to us. And so again, white people playing Indian is an old and angry Bostonians, is as old as angry Bostonians storming British ships dressed as Mohawks during the 1773 Boston Tea Party. White people playing Indians is as old as angry Bostonians storming British ships dressed as Mohawks during the 1773 Boston Tea Party. But since the dawn of New Ageism in the 1970s, its popularity has grown rapidly. On the last U.S. Census, twice as many people have claimed to be Cherokee than the number of people enrolled in the 3 federally recognized Cherokee tribes. It said twice as many people have claimed to be Cherokee than the number of people that have enrolled in the tribes, meaning there are at least 500,000 self-identified Cherokees. These people are just claiming to be. They're not even. On the left is a European claiming to be a Cherokee. On the right is a European claiming to be Choctaw. These people are claiming your land, claiming your estate, claiming your rights. Pretendian compound the stereotypical imagery, name, and behavior, and further misconceptions about Native people, says Susan Harjo. And that's just like, and I'm gonna get to this lady right here. This is Susan Harjo right here, a member of the Cheyenne and Haudougie Muskogee Nations, who is an award-winning columnist for Indian Country Today and a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Harjo has spent years fighting pretendians like defamed author of academics Ward Churchill, this man right here, visual artist Jimmy Durham, and the Washington, D.C. professional football team apologist Rita Sense, known widely as Princess Pale Moon Rose, this lady right here. By claiming indigeneity without the recognition of native nations, pretendians undermine a core tenet of tribal sovereignty, the ability for tribes to determine citizenship. They are attacking the sovereignty of native nations to select citizens and set citizenship standards, Harjo says. They are attacking native citizens ourselves and trying to replace us. Now, I put this on her, I put these images on her because I want y'all to see the claim. She is the one making the claim. She is saying that these Europeans are claiming to be native or indigenous. But again, this woman here, Susan Harjo, she does not look like any of these unexpected faces. And so she is another imposter claiming your land, claiming your rights. So you have two imposters fighting over your status, fighting over your land, fighting over your birthrights, fighting over your identity. Two foreign imposters fighting over what belongs to you. This is a pretendian who used the DNA testing or family lore to fight for legal status as Native American is not only possible, it's already happening. Ralph Taylor, who lived outside of Seattle, has sued the state of Washington for status as a minority business owner based on the results of a DNA test. According to the results, he is 6% indigenous and 4% sub-Saharan African. Now, this man doesn't look neither indigenous or sub-Saharan African. The DNA testings are false. I don't fool with them. Why would they give you something to connect to ancestors if they want to strip you from your ancestors? Is my claim on that. The stolen legacy of Moorish estate. As you see in this statue right here, this is a fez with a tassel. You see the tassel hanging. This is a fez, or I would say it's like a kufi, or I would say a fez with a kufi. And you see the fez here. And you see the imposters. And we discussed this on Moorish Monday 2 Mondays ago, I believe. I'm not gonna say they weren't, well, they were under discussion 2 Mondays ago in Moorish Monday. But the stolen legacy of Moorish estate. So you see, this head attire is ancient. Our head wrap is not modern. And I believe it was Sister Picola had the brother break it down, and I can't break it down as the brother did, but in here it's the Moabite sister with the sword, but it's a melanated sister inside their crown. So I asked, where did the term $5 Indians come from? The term $5 Indian refers to a historical phenomenon where European descendants falsely claim Native American ancestry to gain government benefits. This practice became more prevalent in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries. These were people who were more than happy to exploit the Dawes Commission and government agents for $5. They were willing to turn a blind eye to graft and corruption. For the small minority that managed this fraudulent enrollment may have earned white people potential benefits for themselves. And so again, you have this pretendian here, and it was they paid $5 under the table to be classified as an Indian. So I'm in Oklahoma, and we see a lot of different tribal tags. A lot of Europeans riding around with tribal tags on their vehicles. A lot of so-called Native Americans riding around with these tags on their vehicles because they're in contract. They're pretending to be you. They're pretending to be us. So they have access to our resources. President Grover Cleveland in the Dawes Act, he passed it in 1887 under President Grover Cleveland, allowed the federal government to break up tribal lands. And so the Dawes Act or the Dawes Several Act or General Alignment Act was used to divide up our lands. In a well-meaning but ultimately flawed attempt to assimilate more Americans, President Grover Cleveland signed an act to end tribal control of reservations and divide their lands into individual holdings. So yeah, so-called white Europeans switched the place with Moors. White people, even if you deal with the etymology, black, this was pale at first, and the Moors were white, the pure race. And I'm gonna break down the definition in a minute, but white Europeans took the title of white after the 1870 Reconstruction Act. White people just recently started calling themselves white with the Naturalization Act of 1790, which was amended in 1870. White is a status and it has nothing to do with nationality or skin pigmentation. Please look up the Father of the Modern Race Paradigm on my YouTube channel, The Free White Persons in the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. You can also read The Invention of the White Race by Theodore W. Allen or watch it on the YouTube. And so right here is The Free White Persons from the Black's Law Dictionary. Can someone read this?
I'll read it. Free white person. Free white person referred to in Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14th, 1870, meaning all persons belonging to the European race, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. It concludes all European Jews, more or less, intermixed with people of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, and Finns. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European race, nor the mixed Indo-European, what is that? Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian people who inhabit Persia.
And so in the Black's Law Dictionary, free white person, it does not include Caucasian race, Aryan race, Indo-European races. And so Europeans are not white people. But if you give them that title, then they are the free people. Then you're saying, hey, free man. You're giving him your status. And so we must deal with nationality as the order of the day. We must stop calling them that and deal with them by their nationality. French, German, Scottish, Italian, Irish, etc., whatever it may be. The Democrats were the Klansmen, and they got jealous and took everything, which in the customs of jealousy of jealous poor Europeans, the same thing happened during the Red Summer of 1919, which is considered to be a riot when it is a race war. I call it a massacre, though. More examples of this jealousy with European behavior was during the Black Wall Street and Rosewood, all of which were prominent blackMoor establishments that were destroyed by jealous poor whites or by poor Europeans. So the image on the left, you see the leaders of the Democratic Party. And then these newspaper clippings are from different riots that took place. And during the massacres. I call them massacres. They say race riot, but I call them massacres. The evidence provided in this presentation proves beyond doubt that the Moors used to be the Republicans because of the de jure Republican belonged to the Moors / Hebrew Indians, which were all the same people. So it belonged to the Moors or the Indians, whatever you want to call it. It belonged to us, Moors. How do you explain this? Well, the Moors owned over 80% of America all the way up until the Red Summer of 1913, which is listed as a riot. Like I said, but it's a massacre. And it was over the land. But Moors were driven from their land and they were killed for their lands. The cause of the Great Depression was when the Moors who owned most of the banks during this point in time had stopped doing business with the United States. And so I did a presentation when I first started my YouTube on the so-called black towns. I did 20 so-called black towns, but from the 1815 to 1921, 1921 to the massacre. I did it to right before the Great Depression. And it shows you the economic wealth that we had. It shows you all the banks, the grocery stores, the shoe stores. I mean, anything you could think of, the fruit stands. I mean, just various different economic, financial institutions or businesses that the ancestors had during this time, to where they didn't need the United States. They didn't need Europeans for anything. And so they had to destroy all this stuff that was taking place. How did the land rush affect more Americans? Well, the land rush allowed the land to be open to the homesteaders on a first arrival basis. More American land decreased significantly under the Dawes Act. Reservation lands went from 138 million acres in 1887 to 48 million acres in 1934. That is a loss of 65% before the Dawes Act was repealed. And so within that time frame, they lost 65% of their land from 1887 to 1934 due to this Dawes Act, this Dawes Roll. Here is an image of a US $100 gold coin of the original Statue of Liberty. This gold coin was approved in 2017 as the official US currency. And yes, the original Statue of Liberty was the image of a Moorish black or black or melanated woman. The image of the Moor head is very powerful in the history, and it served as a family brand or logo. What was the largest rush for the land called? The Oklahoma land rush symbolized the spirit of manifest destiny. It represented the opportunity for Europeans or so-called whites to pursue the American dream. People could own land, make a successful business, and start a better life for themselves and their families. The Americas was Muslim Jerusalem, aka Granada, the promised land. Therefore, it was ridiculous to suggest that the Moors willfully invaded their own promised land in the Americas. When we have the dumb diversity in the 1452 issued by the Pope and the Edict of the Worms issued by the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, which banned Islam in the late 1400s, proves that this was certainly not the case, since the dumb diverses authorized Christian Templars to take land, wealth, and possession of Saracens, which were Moors and pagans. Here is a list of Native American tribe members who had darker complexion along with the general time frame of their prominence. So you had the Seminoles, who were prominent in Florida and in Oklahoma, with the history dating back to the 18th century. The Navajo, primarily in the southwestern United States, with history dating back to centuries, particularly in the 19th and 20th century. The Lumbly, based in North Carolina, they go back to the 19th, 20th century. You had the Choctaw, who were in the southern United States, go back 18th, 19th century. And the Apache, who were also in southwestern United States, and they go back to the 18th, 19th century. The Creek and Cherokee tribes are also notable Native American tribes with members who had darker complexion. Here's some information about them. The Creeks, historically located in the southeastern United States, particularly in the present-day Alabama and Georgia, they were prominent during the 18th and 19th century with a complex history that included interactions with European settlers and involvement in conflicts such as the Creek War and tribal Trail of Tears. And so I'm gonna show you that we were fighting on both sides of this war. We were fighting amongst each other during the Civil War to save or to build the United States, to form the United States. Cherokee, originally from the southeastern United States, particularly in the areas of now known as North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama, the Cherokee Nation has a long history that predates European contact, but they became more prominent in the 18th, 19th century. The Cherokee are well known for their forced removal along with the Trail of Tears in the 1830s. Both the Cherokee and Creek tribes, or the Creek and Cherokee tribes, have diverse populations with a range of skin tones, including members with darker complexion. Before being referred to as Creek and Cherokee, these Native American tribes had their own names and identities. The Creek tribe, also known as the Muskogee, had various tribal groups and clans within their confederacy, each with its own distinct name. The term Creek is an English adaptation of the Ojibwe word Okwakoki, which was used to describe these people. Similarly to the Cherokee tribe known as the Susquehanna in their own language, called themselves the I can't pronounce it, but which it meant principal people or real people. These people had their own language, cultures, and history long before European contact and adoptions of the names Creek and Cherokee. So before the European contact, any modern name, I mean, you have to remember in those times, we didn't speak English, so we had ancient etymology, the origin of words. So we had our own language, we had our own culture, we had our own style, we had our own way of life. The reason for this presentation, I was scrolling Facebook and I saw someone post the seven sacred grandfathers, or the teachers of the seven sacred grandfathers. And it made me look into it, and I know that we have to go back further to show that we were here before these so-called Indians, so-called Native Americans. But it was some good information that I got in this, so I wanted to present this as well in my presentation. And so the seven grandfather teachings originated from the Anishinaabe people, who believed they were given these teachings by the Creator to guide them in living a balanced and harmonious life. According to the Anishinaabe people or traditions, the seven grandfathers are spiritual beings who came to the earth in the forms of animals, each representing one of the teachings: the beaver for wisdom, the eagle for love, the buffalo for respect, the bear for bravery, the Sasquatch or Bigfoot for honesty, the wolf for humility, and the turtle for truth. These teachings were passed down orally through storytelling and continue to be taught and honored by the indigenous communities today. And so this is something that the natives practice, but this is something that was ancient that our ancestors was practicing. And it was passed down, it just wasn't passed down our way. The Anishinaabe, also known as the Ojibwe, Chippewa, or Ojibwa, are an indigenous group of people native of North America. They primarily reside in the Great Lake regions of Canada and the United States, including areas such as Toronto, Manitoba, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. The Anishinaabe have a rich cultural heritage, including their language, tradition, and spiritual beliefs, which are deeply rooted in their connections to the land and natural world. They are one of the largest indigenous groups in North America and have historically played significant roles in shaping the history and culture of the region. The Anishinaabe people historically lived in the Great Lakes region of North America, including parts of the present-day Canada and the United States, and encompassed the regions such as Ontario. I just read that. No song, that's why I had it, okay. Within these territories, the Anishinaabe inhabited forests, lake shores, and river valleys, where they established communities engaged in fishing, hunting, agriculture, and other traditional activities. Today, the Anishinaabe communities continue to reside in these regions, maintaining their cultural heritage and connections to the land. The seven grandfather teachings are traditional indigenous teachings that focus on principles for living a good life. They include wisdom, love, respect, bravery, honesty, humility, and truth. These teachings are foundational to many indigenous cultures and serve as guiding principles for personal and community well-being. The seven sacred teachings, also known as the seven grandfather teachings, are a set of teachings that have been passed down from generation to generation by indigenous people of North America. These teachings are the guiding principles for living a meaningful and fulfilling life, and they are essential to maintaining a harmonious relationship between the human beings, nature, and the divine. The seven sacred animals, also known as the seven grandfather animals, correspond to the seven sacred teachings in some indigenous cultures. These animals symbolize the teachings and embody their qualities. The animals and their associated teachings are love. To love is to show kindness, compassion, and empathy towards others. fostering connections and relationships based on the care and understanding. Love emphasizes the importance of unconditional love and compassion and kindness towards ourselves and others. It teaches us to love freely and unconditionally without the exception, without expectation or receiving love in return. And so it's represented by the eagle. The eagle is associated with love because of its keen vision and ability to soar high above, symbolizing the expansion and nature of love. Respect. Respect involves honoring oneself, others, and all living beings, recognizing their inherent worth and dignity. Respect emphasizes the importance of treating oneself, others, and nature with respect. Respect involves acknowledging the value and worth of all living things and treating each other with kindness, honor, and dignity. And so it's represented by the buffalo. The buffalo signifies respect due to its role as a provider and material for indigenous people, emphasizing the importance of honoring all living beings. Courage. Courage is the ability to face challenges, adversary, and fear with strength, determination, and resilience. Bravery involves courage, fortitude, and strength of character. Bravery inspires us to face our fears and overcome obstacles, to push ourselves to our limits, and to fight for what is right. And so the bear represents courage. And the bear embodies courage due to its strength, bravery, and protective instincts, inspiring individuals to face challenges with fortitude and resilience. Honesty. Honesty means speaking and living truthfully, being sincere and transparent in action, words, and intentions. Honesty emphasizes the importance of being truthful, trustworthy, and sincere in all our interactions with others. Honesty promotes trust, loyalty, and integrity, and it allows us to build meaningful and enduring relationships. And so Bigfoot, the satchel, or the saber-tooth, represents honesty. The sable, also known as the marten or pine marten, represents honesty because of its stealthy and truthful nature, embodying the principle of sincerity and integrity. Wisdom. Wisdom encompasses knowledge, understanding, and insight gained through experience, reflection, and learning, guiding thoughtful decision-making and responsible behavior. Wisdom involves making wise choices that lead us on a path of positive growth and development. To attain wisdom, one must learn from experiences, seek knowledge from elders, and listen and learn from another's mistakes. And so the beaver represents wisdom. The beaver represents wisdom because of its ability to build intricate dams and lodges, demonstrating intelligence, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Humility. Humility involves modesty, self-awareness, and openness to learning from others, recognizing one's limitations and strengths while respecting and contributions of others. Humility involves having a modest and unpretentious attitude towards life, recognizing that we are all equal and interconnected. Humility inspires us to serve others, to be passionate towards those who are less fortunate, and to strive to make a positive impact in the world. And so the wolf represents humility. The wolf represents humility by living in cooperative packs, demonstrating the value of community and cooperation over individual ego. And final is the turtle, or the truth. The truth is the pursuit of sincerity, integrity, and authenticity in all aspects of life, aligning actions and beliefs with what is genuine and morally right. Truth involves understanding and acknowledging the reality of our existence and our place in the world. It encourages us to seek knowledge, to be open-minded, and to question our assumptions and beliefs. And so again, the truth is represented by the turtle. And the turtle symbolizes truth because of its steady and deliberate movement, reflecting the importance of patience, honesty, and staying grounded in one's belief. And so again, before I end it, I want to say I thank y'all for being here tonight with this presentation. If anybody has any questions, it's open to the floor. And Brother Abdullah, would you like to talk about the flyer or the presentation? I mean, the conference.
I don't know if Abdullah's in, but
Okay.
maybe Pacola can, because I know that she's going to be one of the speakers there if she's not working.
Sister Bacola, would you like to talk about it? Or Brother King, would you like to talk about the conference?
Yes,
Go ahead, sister.
Nicola Casario. Hey, greetings, everybody. Great class. Thank you so much again. This 18th, the 18th of May is our Moorish American first annual political unity conference that is designed to it's all together. It's open to the general NBCs who don't know what nationality is about, but you have a curiosity, you're welcome to come. And for Moors who are conscious of their nationality and birthright, this will give them more of a bird's eye view of our international status, which the nationality must come, up to terms with. We're dealing with government, we see our fellow Moors gaining nation states or clans and tribes and doing ceremonies and all of this, but they're not to the full understanding that our issue with our birthright on the land has to do with our international recognition, reclaiming our lost sovereignty. And so this political unity conference is the beginning structure of that. Everyone that is on the flyer is a representative, they're a leader within their own community, or they're desired leaders, or they at least have community outreaches. And those individuals are being represented on the flyer. And we're all coming together to talk about government structure. Again, the flyer is the very first flyer that was out. It had a lot of information on it pertaining to what we're called. And so that was really one of the catchers with the flyer. And that is that we want to catch people's attention with the misnomers that they have been called and that they have been clinging to. And so that's what the first flyer was kind of showing. Second flyer is actually giving you a glimpse of the keynote speakers, which are a group of Moors that have been in the movement a number of years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, almost 40 years in the movement, trying to bring others' consciousness up. And so those are going to be our keynote speakers. And, excluding myself, I haven't been in the movement 30 years. However, I've been kind of fast tracking, I guess. And the panelists, the other members, again, they're people that are very, progressive and moving forward. We're learning daily. We're learning all the time. Even with the knowledge that we have, sometimes with more research, we will find out that what we used to teach is needs to be upgraded. So we keep that and keep it moving. So, it's a wonderful thing that we have this conference coming. Again, it is to let the people know that we have a plan of, I won't say attack, but a plan. We have a plan toward revision of our sovereignty, and that plan is going to be spelled out by Shem Malachite Bey, who is significantly one of the authors of the process that we have to go through to become politically legitimate and to establish a permanent population. So there's steps that we have to do in order to be recognized wholly on the international platform. Again, this political unity conference, nation state, and to help ourselves, help ourselves through all those rights of self-determination and post-millennium and evolve. But yep, that's the flyer. Actually, there's 2 flyers and maybe a third one coming. And that third one might be, talking about the activities after the flyer. I mean, after the conference. It's almost like kind of like a AAR, military stuff, after action review. We take a look at, what we accomplished in the conference and what we're going to be doing moving forward. Again, there's various steps toward getting ourselves as a permanent population and creating the provisional government, which is a temporary government to help try to address our needs. So, but yep, that's it. That's what I got.
Thank you, Sister King.
Okay.
Thank you, Pacola. Thank you, Pacola. Great job.
Well, I'm Brother King L. Bay. I'm a keynote speaker. This conference represents the unification of a body politic coming together. One mind, one spirit, one soul, one community, one voice. So when I, hold on one second. I apologize. So what I'm going to bring and introduce on a keynote and speak upon at the conference is introduction to the new Morris Investigative Committee. Me and Abdullah has with other various parties, we are forming this new committee so that we can identify and properly track and bring up a claim to the international community in the Court of Justice, pinpointing the perpetrators on how the denationalization, the stripping of our rights conferred under treaty, land, or consanguinity, misidentifying us as a way to become wealthy, unjustly enriching themselves for these hundreds of years. To properly, with the proper analytic approach and the proper legal structure to bring the proper evidence so that we can stop reaching. These classes like Akano have brought, I want y'all to pay attention to the pattern of conduct as we can identify what is the behavior that they have done, what is the concepts constantly involved, and through the denationalization process, language. So what have they done? They stripped us from, they took us from being a Moor. They constantly tried to rewrite history and misidentify us, right? And put us in an inferior position, taking us out of being the landlords so they can be the sovereigns, so that they can commit this taxation, so that they can continuously tax us. This is one of the strategies of servitude. This is slavery. A new reform of slavery through heavy taxation to show them that the behavior in which now we can identify that we are able to see with a clear clairvoyance through our research to connect the dots to see how they have stripped us. So with Abdullah, Shem, and all the keynote speakers and all the panelists, with us coming together, we'll be able to have one voice at the United Nations and be able to show these claims, not only can get our reparations and get the monies that we deserve for this genocide, because these are violations of treaties. I don't care about domestic policy. These are human rights violations. These are international violations. These are big no-nos in the international realm. So this is not conferred to any constitutional or any type of domestic policy. It's a violations of international jurisdictions. I yield.
Well, Abdullah Bey, I want to thank you very much for accepting me and offering me this opportunity to be with this group live and up to date. My name is Luisa Flores, and I represent New York State and many organizations and innovational movements that I've done since my grandparents' time. We tell Washington what we want. We're not asking for permission, because this world is with our blood built on top of all of our ancestors' blood. So it's not to say we're begging or we asking. We are demanding in a respectful, mature way, wise and intelligent. This has to change. We can't keep accepting it. This is nothing new. Genocide has been going on even today. We talk about the past. Everyone knows the past, but do they realize, these speakers who speak about the past so well, do they realize it's actually happening, continuing nonstop in different layers, different directions, and multitudes? Because when they take action, it's not just one action. I know how they think only because I've worked with them, and they taught me, if you're going to take action, you better make sure you have all corners covered and layers. So when I took action in court, I make sure I have a team, left brain, right brain, man, female, young coming up, and an elder, so that the enemy that's trying to crush you or steal from you and rob from you and treat you like a slave, and I am in court saying, not today. Slavery is over. It will not be in my world. That's a made-up world, a fake world, and they have made us to bow down to this propaganda world, and we really, really need to work together to change it, to stop it, and say no more. So I know the wisdom and the knowledge will help us and secure us to do so, working together. So I am very passionate about being a part of this group. I am very passionate making this movement, because I've worked, I've challenged every courthouse in New York. And no is not by no petition. And no, because the teachers, they drop out. The parents drop out, even to protect their own children. I stood alone, protecting my children, my family, the education department, those drugs they want to give your children. Steal your rent money, rob you from your housing, mortgage, all because of propaganda of paperwork. And when you read and you understand what you're reading and you question everything, that's how you win. Wisdom sets you free. But we need to do it as a whole for this whole world, because it's genocide everywhere, not just here in New York or the States. So I'm glad to even know that you're still doing this movement. I met some of you back in the days, through Akira Rose, and I'm just happy to be with y'all today. Thank you again.
I think Sister Flores, she is the one. She's the last. She's on the bottom row, far left. Look at the flyer. The one who just Sister Louise Flores. She's on the bottom row, right there. That's her. That's the one who was just speaking. All right.
And do remember, even my grandchildren bloodline, we are African, we're Puerto Rican, we're Dominican, we're Ukrainian, we are Jewish, we are Polish, even my grandchildren. So it's not and Italian. So it's not far distance. This is not no far distance stuff. This is all in my generation, and I'm married to an African. So when I say I understand what's going on worldwide, it's not that propaganda that's on TV. These people are here, family members are still living in these countries and going through this propaganda of being poor. not having no water now, no electricity because of these wars are keep coming up and it's growing, significantly growing, and it's gonna be here soon. So we need to protect ourselves the right way. The laws internationally is the key for others to respect us as who we are, nothing less than kings and queens. And that's how I represent my people here, no matter how they may be. We did another youth summit. I love to do the youth summit. Couple leaders in Harlem, we get together and we make it happen. And even one of the judges came yesterday as well. I can send you some video footage so y'all can enjoy some of the action. The children was happy to open up and have adults listen to them. They run the show. Of course, I was multitasking. You know, I always like to serve. I always like to bring the food, but I brought, stuff so everybody can be comfortable. So I'm a server. I'm also a server and I'm a cook. So, and make sure everyone sign in and don't forget anyone out, including the ones who's part of the participation. They must sign also. But that said and done, it's just to say we must do so. We have to have our hands in everything in all walks of life in order to make this movement happen. So every person that has a specialty in any professional manner has to have a group, and every professional manner in the group has to come together, work as one accord. Marcus Garvey and many others, we know what not to do, and we know what to continue doing. So we have a guidance from other real leaders from the past. And only way we ever fall is when we have insiders within our own group. Of course, self-destruction within home. Well, this is how America is falling too. And every country has fallen. So let's not repeat what we already wisely know to stay away from. And I digress.
Brother Quasi, are you on? Quasi, are you on?
Yep, peace. Yeah, I'm
All right,
on.
Sister Flores, this is Brother Quasi. He's the one. Brother Quasi is on the third row. All right, from left to right. He's the second one. This is sister. All right, so he's the brother whose pictures I sent you. He had the banner. Yeah, this is the brother. That's Brother Quasi. All right. So I sent you those photos. He had an event on March 31st, and those photos were taken at the March 31st event. The banner, the Declaration of the Rights of the Child banner. All right. Yes. So I just wanted to say so Sister Brother Quasi, so formally introduce yourself to Sister of
that's what I've been promoting, that flyer you sent me with that picture.
Yeah. Yes. So go ahead, Quasi.
Yeah, I'm Quasi L. I'm out here at the garden yard watering the plant. So yeah, I'm Quasi. Near the foreign political zone that they taught us to be LaGrange, Georgia. And I just do various stuff in the community, chess program, community garden, and we're rebirthing our community clean team, doing more preparation this time. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me. I own a smoothie business, so I sell smoothies full time, and I'm an instructor with the Chattahoochee River Keeper. I go out on boat rides sometimes, and we talk about the pH level of the water and all that kind of stuff with some albinos. It's their organization. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Well, that chess thing does save a lot of young people's minds. My son was one of them. It helps them to think in layers, not just black and white, but in layers, and have good memory. So it opens up those muscles in their brains to know how to decipher and understand and work things out, and use their mind as the biggest muscle they have. So that's one of the things that's very helpful for young minds to have tools to work on to develop their minds to be strong. And it is by playing chess. That's one of the things. And I have to say that it works because my two sons, 37 and 34, and my daughter's 34, and my youngest baby is 25. So I'm speaking for long-term experience.
Right.
Sister Flores, you had the youth summit today. You mentioned that you're putting together packages, and you put the flyer in the
Yes,
the
I
best
did.
package.
Yes, I
Right
did gift bags. I did gift bags, so I put in every gift bag for each student so that youth, so they can take back home and share it with everyone else, with the adults and anyone else. But also I had 2 tables, one for refreshments and food, and the other table was for flyers. So therefore, yes, we was talking about it. Yes, it was yesterday. The youth. So there's more people who are interested and willing to travel and come out, especially the ACEs organization. Now that's a powerful organization here in New York, but they stretch out from the Bronx, Harlem, New Jersey, and down south. So yeah, they was making sure I give them a flyer, and there was some coming to me to get the flyer because they wanna show up. They wanna see what's going on. So they're interested. So that was a wonderful thing yesterday. It turned out wonderful. We had some leaders there, and children got to get some free law information, up to date law information by a judge herself. And I gave out applications because they are hiring at age 17 for the Board of Elections. And we need to keep our people in those seats because every time I work at the Board of Elections, is more and more others who were not born here and less of us, where us is, need an extra salary, or I always had 2 careers, but you can do seasonal, you can do temp, and you can do just one time every election day. So they have choices how to make some extra money or start a career working with the Board of Elections. Is a federal job. So it's an excellent start off for anyone to have that second job or to start off a career for the young ones. So that was also added to the gift bag as well. And a government educational book for them to what is it called? Like games and stuff, but it's geared to learning law. Amongst other stuff in a free t-shirt. I digress.
Sister Pecola, introduce yourself to Sister Louise Flores. You in the New York area as well. She'll be coming to her phone. Sister Pecola. She has to take her. I know she's at work. She hears me. Probably. Is she still on? Yeah, she's still on. All right, she'll come to the phone. She'll get back on. Yes. So I'm very excited. This is wonderful. Yes. So you heard. So this introduce yourself to Sister Louise, and you're in the New York area as well.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Sister Piccola Kusar-Il. I am somewhat in the New York area, indeed. I got business in the New York area. Got my adult only child that's there. Also I deal with periodically about Ambassador Bay, dealing with the AMISA organization. But nevertheless, the conference that's coming up, I'm excited about it. Yes, we have to learn we have to learn many things. Some stuff we've learned with intense study, and sometimes the stuff just slips you. And I was sharing with the brother last night that some things that I've learned, I mean, it's just a lot. And so it just kind of like gets moved. Other things that are more important gets pushed to the front. And so here we are. But it is a lot of information, but we can handle it. And it definitely works when you do it as a team and you do it minus the ego. It really does work. Again, I'm here. I'm going to be all behind the scene working. I'll be also, I've moved up. I've moved up to the station of one of the keynote speakers, of which I'm honored for. And I look forward to, doing my part.
Yes, I love
And
that.
look
We
forward to
can
meeting
do it.
some of you folks who are at the conference. And yeah, so yeah, so nice to meet all of you. Brother Dula, you didn't tell flyer. I like that little concept.
Oh yes,
Look at the flyer.
yes, sister. She's at
I
yes,
like
sister.
that.
It's on the flyer. She's at the top. She's the only sitting at the top of the flyer. Right there. That's Sister Piccola. Yes, thank you,
It
Sister
gets lonely
Piccola.
up there. There needs some more,
Thank
some
you,
more Varieties.
Piccola. Yes, I should.
Islam, you're welcome, brother. It's all good. It's all good. So,
All right, so Brother Kono, back to
I'm
you.
here. Yeah, any questions? Anybody have anything else they want to add on for the night?
The panelists, that's you're gonna have the schedule when the panelists will sit on the stage and how long they sit on the stage?
Yes, absolutely. I know you have an extensive background in community outreach. I mean, you shared that to
Yes.
me a few months ago when I reached
Yes,
out to you about
right, from
joining.
medical to education
Yes,
to law. Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we have Sister Bacola and Sister Bacola and Sister Sasha she's on the second row, right? She's on the second row right there, Sister Sasha. All right, so those both are keynote speakers. All right, so we wanted to more balance it out and looking to bring another sister as a keynote speaker.
Okay.
All right, so
Well, we are meeting up on the
we'll
17th,
all
right?
be out on the 17th, but that's something that
Okay.
you'll know ahead of time. So that's something that you and I will talk about. All right, because we wanted to bring more balance, to the
Okay.
platform with the keynote speakers. So we have Sister Sasha and Piccola, only female keynote speakers at this time.
Okay.
So that's something that I'll talk to you about.
Okay. Well done.
Well, I
Oh
appreciate
yes,
it.
I wanted to say I really like when you say it's not a lot. We just gotta reprogram our brains. I love how when you came back and said that when someone said it's too much or it's a lot or it's confusing, and you came right back and said it's not. We just need to rechannel, clean our brains out, and reprogram it with the correct information, the truth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I wasn't on the whole time. I had to deal with matter. So, but I'm sure the folk that the class was booming as always.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you did come on, Sister Louise. It's great that we got opportunity for us other people to meet you. And as I said, you'll be coming on the 17th, so we'll be meeting.
Well, I had y'all on the whole time from another meeting I was in from one west to downtown to uptown, west east side to the west side. I was on. I was like, I'm not missing this one tonight. And it was good reception. Good
Great.
reception.
And I know you have been studying. You have been studying with the
Yes,
classes
yes.
for the past couple months now. Yes.
Yeah, got me go get some new books, and I opened 3 books, and then your notes, and I was taking my notes. Oh yeah, it's exciting to refresh laws and learn some new ones, and enlightening and things that you really didn't put it together and really didn't know about. It's refreshing. It's exciting. It's
Awesome.
exciting to study.
All right. This is thank y'all again. So Kono will be coming out with his book either between the spring and summer of next year. He's working on his book cover and looking to have that book cover done within the next month or 2. And so he's doing a great job. This is he's got a. Did you give them the next class, Okono?
No, that was the next screen. I forgot. I'm glad you just said that.
All
So
right.
yeah. So tune in for part 6, the United States Race and Ethnic Standards on Federal Statistics and Administrative Reporting. So we're gonna go into the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, Section 1. Everyone has a right to a nationality. United Nations Declaration of the Rights of a Child, Principle 3. Every child shall have a right to a name and a nationality. And the UNESCO 1979 International Year of the Child. Nationality is a human rights subject. So I look forward to seeing y'all in the next presentation. I look forward
I
to
have just one thing to say. I don't mean to cut you off. I just didn't want you to everybody hang up so quickly. How I even started to learn about the Moors and the history is through the guys that sell the books back in 1985 in New York, when they had their tables out there from the Bronx to Harlem. And even my relatives from down south, whenever they visit in New York back then, they would take groups of books with them back down south with them to have for themselves. But that's how I started getting very interested about kings and queens and the Moors and where it started from and where they diverted. And then those guys back then, you couldn't come back and get a new book unless you had some intelligence to have a conversation with them with the book, with that first book that you purchased from them. But I did so much business with them that they started to give me books for free to learn on my own time. But that's how I started, from the guys selling the books and on their table from the Bronx on 149th Street and from Harlem on 125th.
Awesome. Kono, you have this form here.
Islam.
Just go ahead, Piccola.
Islam. Yeah, I am just want to just a couple of thoughts that actually was just going through my mind, is just a refresher and a reminder. We're in subjugation. We're in colonialization. And we who understand that are working very hard to bring the awareness of our status of denationalization to our fellow brothers and sisters. The Political Unity Conference is just that. It is a political unified effort to remind those who forgot and to inform those that never knew that nationality is the order of the day. And in order for our condition to change at this level, some people would say, change the literature. And that is fine. That is accurate. That's at another level. At the level in which we're moving, it is a level of political international recognition for a collapsed nation state and a subjugated people. And so as we're doing the conference, as we're gathering together for the conference, there's many faces. There's many faces on the flyer. So for the people that are going to be coming, or people that are going to be on what do you call it, pay-per-view, they'll be listening. They'll be wondering. This is a Moorish American political unity conference. So in case anyone does not know, this is a conference to identify the denationalized people in their proper status and identify those things which we're making a claim about, because there has to be a claim, and it is not a claim that can be brought to the colonial powers. The colonial powers have us subjugated. The most that they would do is break us off some reparations while still holding strong to this land, to the government, and to our people. So that's why we are not speaking in terms of local, national issues. We are speaking as a collapsed nation. We're coming together for that one voice, as the brother was mentioning, that one voice, and that one voice will be heard up under only one nationality, and that is Moorish American, and any variations of that can be hashed out in the international courts. So I just want to make that a refresher that we're all on that flyer. We all come with various knowledges, but to stay on code is to understand what we're there for, and that is to talk about what we can do with our individual abilities, our individual influences, to be able to reach our people or reach our various projects with different people on it. It is for that purpose of community outreach. It is to reach your people, since you would be influential to a group of people. It's to get you, leaders, potential leaders, strong in the knowledge so that you could stand before your people that trust you, to let them know who they are and have them to allow you to get their consent, because we need consent. We need written consent, which will go into a collective roster of a permanent population. Permanent population is one of the requirements before we move forward as one nation. We must have the consent of the people. So so much is going through my head. I am at work, and I'm sorry, I'm talking fast, but it's just for me to just remind everybody that's going to be participating in the conference, whether you're keynote or whether you're whatever, this is about one's understanding of this conference, what we're doing, and what you can bring to help with the group. Because one of the things we don't want to get lost too much in, and brother, he knows that I'm real adamant about ego. Really adamant about ego. Ego has brought down nations. Ego has caused wars. Ego have done a lot. And we need to be mindful of the pitfalls. And those pitfalls start with, our own individual flossings or anything of that nature. So just so that we one point with what this conference is about is for the people that are strong and do their presentations, no problem. For the people that are coming into the knowledge of more science and so forth and so on, it's the task of what you can bring. What did they say? One of the presidents said, don't ask what you can do for your country, what your government or your country can do for you. It's like what you can do for your country. and so that's going to be really significant for individuals coming into this to see that your role, your time spent in the community, helping in whatever ways and capacities that you have is such a treasure, is such a treasure. Now it's about bringing us all strong, equally strong, so that we can influence. And this, again, this is the foundation or the beginning of this is the beginning of the provisional government. This is the beginning of it. So this is really, really important that we come to the conference, focus, come to the conference, have fun, because, it's not often Moorish people can get together and just be. So I look forward to that. We got a lot of time we're spending together and getting to know one another. And again, I bring it up because it makes it matter. Sometimes I liken it to the indoctrination of children when you go into kindergarten and, I don't know if they probably don't do it nowadays. When I came through, you put your little hand across your heart and, you're pledging your allegiance, pledging your allegiance. And so therefore, this Political Unity Conference is just that. It is a form, that when we leave there, that we try to pledge ourselves together as one so that we could, uplift our fallen nation, So yeah, it comes young, when you bring them young, it's easier. We have a lot of Moors, Asiatics that have been out and tussling with life and everything is really hard. So, when you bring something to them to say what this is and what your vision is, because you can understand it, they're going to say, how can I eat behind this? They're going to want to know, what can you do for me? They're going to know, is this now or this like for the children's children? No. I got my holy breath right now, and I want to partake in any change that will happen in my time as well.
Amen.
Generations.
Yes. Yeah.
So I might want to carry on. I just want to bring that reminder that is real important for the speakers to, to do what you do and bring your best, bring your best share, and more importantly, bring your best share and how that share can contribute. How do you see that interfacing with the Moorish movement in this political movement? Because this is what do they say? Don't talk politics and don't talk religion. No, we're talking politics. The religion has to wait, and that's because this is a political thing. This is not a religious, test of any sort. This is not about religion. Right now, we got business that has to be attended to. So anyway, thank you for listening, family. Okay, I can't say family.
Excellent. Excellent. We got some strong sisters,
I'm gonna say kinfolk. I'm gonna say kinfolk.
We got some strong sisters.
Peace,
We got some strong sisters. Sister Mia Moore, blew the roof off the house on Monday, on Moorish Monday, with Abdullah Bey. All right. So if you get a chance to check that out. She did an excellent job on Monday. So we have some strong sisters. Also, Sister Flores, we have Sister Sasha is in New York as well. Sister Sasha, one of the keynote speakers, she's also in New York. So that's good. So you have Pecola has ties to New York. All right, so that's great. We got some strong sisters, man. This is awesome. We have the the associate professor, Sister Naturae. All right, she's been studying my etymology lessons for the past 3 years. And she reached out to me about 3 months ago. And she and I are working on the curriculum as well. So we've done one-on-ones every other week. And she'll be one of the panelists. And so we have some strong sisters. This is awesome. This is awesome, and I'm very excited, and definitely looking forward to meeting the ones who I have not met. Brother King, I'm very excited about Brother King, and he's taking up the mantle and heading this investigative committee. And so I suggested to him yesterday that today that would be his keynote address. You know, that would be his keynote address as he's heading this committee. So he's going to be also is going to be education as he is heading the committee. So I'm very excited about this because it's focus. It's focus, and King mentioned that we need to have a time frame, and so we'll be putting very organized, and we're going to have the goals and objectives that's already written out, and King's going to expand on that. It's going to be well structured.
Yes.
And he's only going to have active people on the committee.
Yes.
All right.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Absolutely. I know Sister Picola, as far as the sisters being on the committee, maybe Sister Flores, you would be great to be on the committee as well.
Yes.
So this is wonderful. All right, brother, have the form, the ethnicity and race and identity form. Can you read that first paragraph, privacy and act statement?
Ethnicity and race information is requested under the authority of 42 USC section 2000E-16 and in compliance with the Office of Management and Budget in 1997 revision to the standards of the classification of federal data on race and ethnicity. Providing this information is voluntary and has no impact on your employment status, but in the instance of missing information, your employee agency will attempt to identify your race and ethnicity by visual observation.
So that's a human rights violation. All right. So where the problem has been, and I was talking to Kono today, is that conscious Moors have been directed to handle an issue like this individually. You're talking about addressing European conquest and colonization as an individual. This is why we need government structure. This is an example of why we need government structure. And addressing it not in United States courts. Not addressing this in United States courts. Not addressing this in United States agencies. This is a human rights violation. Addressing it in world court. But you have to be organized to do that. Hence, this, as in Picola gave a great insight into the purpose of the conference as being a prelude to the Moorish provincial governing body, as facilitating the formation of the Moorish Imperial Parliament Council will be made up of the various heads, which will include others or not on the flyer, because there are other body politics, other heads that are not part of this conference as far as keynote speakers and panelists, but they're part of this conference as far as their support. So the outreach is growing, and it's great that we are, working together, and we have outreach. I thank you, O'Connell, for taking up the mantle and addressing this topic. You're doing a wonderful job. Quasi had his class last night. Very great class. Last night, I know, Sister Flores, you were at the summit, and so once that class is available, I'll make sure I'll send that your way. That was a very good class last night. And once again, Brother Quasi is the one with the Ujima tribe.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Kono.
I just want to say I thank everybody for your time tonight. And I look forward to seeing y'all again, like I say, at the conference. I look forward to Moorish Mondays. I look forward to Quasi's Wednesday presentations. I will see y'all again in 2 Thursdays from now. Peace and love, and thank y'all again.
Peace and love, and
Peace,
thank you as
peace.
well.
Peace, everyone.
May you noble.
Peace and love. Everyone stay safe.
Yes.
Islam Moors.
Thank you.